Hello everyone, my name is Delta and welcome to episode 1 of Unnecessary Mac Modifications. In this series, I'm going to be doing completely unnecessary modifications to old Macs to push them as far as their limits can take them. This could either result in some pretty interesting machines or an absolute failure. So I'm going to start with something relatively tame for the first video. I'm going to be putting macOS Monterey on this machine. This is a 2008 aluminium MacBook rocking an M1 processor. Not really, it's a Core 2 Duo. It's already been upgraded to a certain extent because it now has 4GB of RAM from the upgraded 2 and a 64GB SSD. And I've been using it just for writing and just doing assignments and stuff. It's far from as powerful as my main machine, but it's pretty fun to play around with, and I think it'd be interesting if we put macOS Monterey on it. But I've got to move it to the side because I need to introduce another machine, because 4GB of RAM is not going to be enough. So I'm going to pinch RAM from my Mac Mini. Ooh. This is my 2010 Mac Mini. It's a Core 2 Duo model, and it's the last one that had the disk drive. I'm going to pop this bottom cover off because I need to pinch 4GB of RAM, and as you can see, one of the RAM slots is busted. One of them doesn't work and it can't detect more than 4GB of RAM for some reason, even though this model should be able to go to 8. But I'm giving this to my friends so they can use it as a home server at some point. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. But for now, I need this RAM stick so I can upgrade this Mac so it's better at running Monterey. Even this, my main machine, a 2013 MacBook Pro, does not have Monterey on it. It's running Catalina, even though it's pretty easily patchable. So I'm going to be setting up the installer on this thing and then installing it on this thing. But first, let's upgrade the RAM. Cue a time lapse. Let's continue on my main machine. So I'm going to download the installer from OpenCore Legacy Patcher, and then you're going to see what the process consists of after that. Mine's a late 2008 model, meaning everything apart from graphics acceleration is supported by default. So this should be pretty alright. So let's download the installer and we'll configure it on my lovely, lovely USB, which is definitely not broken a little bit. Yeah. Start the installation, shall we? So while that's downloading, or downloaded because it's just finished, I'm going to erase this USB and just call it Monterey. I'm pretty sure I'll have to do this again anyway, but yeah. Yeah, there will be a tutorial going out showing how to do this on specifically this machine, and it should work on pretty much any others, but this is a bit of a complicated process, and this video is more about the end result, so yeah, we'll see what happens next. Just checked, and luckily this thing does post. Yeah, it's already got macOS on here. I'm just going to shut that down because the battery on this thing is utter crap, and I'd like to conserve it. So yeah, this thing does post with the RAM, it does see it, I've just checked, so we should be good. So I'm going to be using macOS 12.4, and that is going to take a while to download. 32. It's going to take a while to download it, But once that's done, I will create the installer and we should be good. It's just verifying the installer now, and then we should be good to start the actual process. Now we have the installer downloaded, we need to click install macOS Monterey. We have to find the USB, and then it should start writing files. The installer is almost done creating. After this, I've still got to patch it, but then we should be pretty much in the clean to just let it install. Building open core for the specific thing, and install to disk. And we need to install it to Ultra. Disk EFI. Then I need to type my password in. Okay, it's now done. So let's ignore that and plug it into the MacBook. You can go away now. You're not needed anymore, hopefully. Sorry, MacBook, I didn't mean to be so mean. Okay, now let's press power and press and hold option. Option. Pressing and holding. Pressing and holding. And now what should happen is it should show an EFI option. So we click EFI boot. And then we click install macOS Monterey. And now it should boot into the installer. I've done this process before on a different MacBook, on a 2013 MacBook Pro 13-inch, which I actually traded to get this boy. But yeah, so now we've got to wait for this to do this, and then it should install normally. And then I've got to do some patches to the hard drive afterwards, but we should be good. Oh my gosh, holy crap, it worked. The mouse looks real choppy. I think that's because of the lack of graphics drivers. But let's go into here and erase the 64 gigabyte partition. I've got nothing interesting on here, so let's just call it Monterey. Let's go for APFS, because I'm pretty sure Monterey can only be installed on APFS. So let's do that. I've never done this on a laptop so old before, so this could be really interesting. In fact, this is my first time trying Monterey. The last time I did this, it was Big Sur. So let's install macOS Monterey. macOS Monterey. Continue. Come on, continue. Continue. It's already struggling. I think this might have been a bit much for the Core 2 Duo. Okay, let's click Monterey. And about 40 minutes. Seems reasonable. Select. Oh, 23. Okay. So now, cut to when it's done, or cut to when something interesting happens. Okay, so this is going surprisingly flawless, considering that we're almost halfway into the installation. And when I tried this on a PC that was fully Hackintosh supported, it was a bit more difficult than this. And I had to do quite a bit more plist editing than I had to do with this, because I basically had to do none. The installer did it for me. However, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the graphics drivers. It could be pretty interesting, so let's see what happens next. Woo! It's been more than a minute. Woo! So close into the first boot. Come on. Come on. Hurry up. Wake up. Wake up. Is it locked up? No, it's not locked up. It's still doing something. It's doing something. I don't know what, but it's doing something. Oh. Oh. Way! It worked. Now to set it up. I'll be back in 3, 2, 1. So we are now fully set up, and I'm just installing the OpenCore thing to the disk. And after I've done that, we're going to cut to tomorrow, when I will have spent some time with it, and then I'll be able to talk about my opinion on this. See whether it's a worthy mod that you should do yourself. So it's the next day, and I managed to get the graphics drivers somewhat working to the point where it can load menus without looking real weird. Siri, however, does not work at all, and I'm going to pop some benchmarks up on screen. And the surprising part is Monterey benchmarks higher than Catalina under the same conditions. Would I recommend this mod? Probably not, because it drains battery like a cow, and the graphics are still a bit iffy. It's a bit choppy, glitchy as hell. If you want a machine from Monterey, I say go for a mid-2012 unibody, because this one is not quite cut out for it. But if you need it, it can work. Anyway, that's about it for this one, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.